Why didn't anybody warn me? Why didn't anybody warn me that Magical Revolution was an Isekai Itome game? I'm just joking. I'm joking. I'm just joking. The very end of the first episode had an Itome game Isekai trope. But other than that, this first 2 episodes of Magical Revolution of the Reincarnated Princess and the Genius Young Lady was absolutely fantastic. This is easily the most shocking show that I have run into in this season so far. Hopefully, the hidden gem of this season. I was really coming into the show knowing that it looks really good, the PV looked really good, but I am floored by the world building, the characters, everything. It's given me some insane Licorice Coil vibes. Some insane Licorice Coil vibes. Having the main character essentially being Chisato, and this Euphilia girl being essentially Takana. I love it. I love the characters, I love the chemistry, everything. I'm gonna get into that. This is my first impressions of the first 2 episodes of the Magical Revolution of the Reincarnated Princess and the Genius Young Lady, a 12-episode series, unfortunately only 12-episode series, that is airing in the winter 2023 anime season, so let's jump into it. Magical Revolution opens up in a medieval-style fantasy world where the princess of this kingdom is pretty much a troublemaker. She sneaks out of the castle all the time, goes out into the woods, takes out really big monsters in the most oddest ways. You see some adventures nearby kind of noting the fact of, why is she using all these really weird items? Like, she's not a mage. She's using items that nobody's ever seen before, like lightsaber, and she's darting around on this broomstick and everything. After collecting her spoils and returning back to the castle, you see that the king is infuriated by what she's doing. And we get a quick idea that, for one, the nobles don't like her. She is this oddity that's going to cause problems. Plus, she's also working on magicology, this technology that she's built that she's been trying to advance. The ability to use magic to essentially infuse items so that people that can't use magic can essentially use magic. But more in the idea that it's like technology, using magic to fuel technology. But although the nobles see her as a stain in the royal family and an issue, she's renounced the throne, so there's no chance that she'll become queen. Instead, this is going to fall upon her brother, the prince. But still, she is a threat to the nobles and the royalties and those are the higher ups because, again, her tools that she's creating could essentially create equality within the world because those that have magic are seen as better. The fact that she can't use magic makes her kind of this oddity that's looked down upon. But you see, obviously, that the fact that she cannot use magic has weighed down upon her. She loves magic. She thinks it's amazing. Everybody that uses magic, she thinks it's so amazing. And yes, technically the fact that she's unable to use magic, she seems like an oddity within the royalty. The royalty, they say that a long time ago, the initial people that made pacts with the spirits to use magic was the royal family, and thus every royal family member should be able to use magic, but she cannot. And through this conversation that we have between Anisfia, this princess, and her maid, we find out that there was a turning point at some point in her life. The point in which she first started doing this magicology. It was a moment when she was very young that she seen a vision of her previous life. Yes, she is technically a reincarnate, an isekai. So she has these visions of planes flying in the air and all this other stuff, and that inspired her to try to make magic allow her to fly, and that was the beginning segments of her magicology research. And while she's causing problems with this, using Magicite to create pills that allow her to use magic, all this research that she's doing, again, the kingdom sort of lets her do what she wants because she's decided to leave the throne, so the focus is on the prince. And yes, the prince is a dirtbag. We find out really quickly that the prince is a dirtbag. Her brother, the prince, is set to wed Euphilia, but Euphilia is the daughter of this duke. And she's very special in the idea that she has a strong connection to the spirits, and thus able to use very advanced magics. And it seems as if Algard has his own interests. This girl that was once a commoner, but due to her father's exploits was able to gain nobility. And yes, like I joked about at the very beginning, as they're having their graduation ceremony, the prince comes marching in with this once commoner girl into there and claims that Euphilia has been bullying her. And oh yes, she didn't like the fact that he was getting close to her, and so she tried to have an assassination upon her and how terrible she is and admit to your crimes and blah, 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 blah. Well, at the same time, Anisfia is trying out her latest attempt to fly with a broom. And it works. But then she crashes into the ball, and realizing what's happening in that room, Anisfia snatches up Euphilia and darts off into the air. Returning to her father, the king, and saying, Father, I've whisked her up. I'm taking her. Let me have her. Yeah, that's the point where we find out that, yeah, at the point that Anisfia did give up her rights to the throne, she said that it was because she has no desire to get married with a man. Instead, she'd love to be with a woman. Yes, partially because she doesn't like the idea of getting pregnant, but this leads everybody to believe that Anisfia wants to marry Euphyllia because she's super cute. We find out that Anisfia sort of implies that the original love that she has for magic was created by watching Euphyllia a long time ago using magic and looking happy. And Anisfia really picked up quickly that Euphyllia has lost her joy for life. She's been under shackles. She loved using magic and everything, and ever since she kind of got put in the position of marrying Algard, she's lost a lot of her joys in life, a lot of her freedoms. Well, the goal is that Anisfia wants Euphyllia to be her assistant. Because she's so great at magic, and because her name has just been tarnished by the prince, she can regain the public image by essentially being the one to take credit for everything that Anisfia creates. So she'll be the face of the magicology that Anisfia is doing. The great technologies that she'll bring to the kingdom will then make her look better, thus restoring her name that, yes, Algard destroyed. So reluctantly, the king decides to allow it, and yes, Gantz, Euphyllia's father, wants the best for her. So if that's what she wants, he'll allow it. And the first night of them together, you sort of get the sense that Anisfia really loves magic. She wished that she could use magic. She looks up to people that can use magic, and she desires to use magic to bring smiles upon people. At the same time, Euphyllia thinks that, you know, Anisfia is free to do whatever she wants, and she kind of likes that, which is exactly what Anisfia wants of Euphyllia, to free her. And yeah, you do have a little brief scene between the king and Euphyllia's father, where Euphyllia's father kind of points out there's technically no laws against essentially them becoming queens and kings of the nation, but just the idea that the revolution that Anisfia can technically create, something that, yes, even Euphyllia recognizes is extremely dangerous. She is going to essentially change the power dynamic in the country by removing the power that those that have magic have, giving it to everybody. So my thoughts on the Magical Revolution: I absolutely adored this show so far. First of all, it looks really, really good. A lot of the animation and everything looks fantastic. The character designs are fantastic. Everything visually, the character expressions, the goofy shenanigan moments, the action pieces are all really, really fantastic. But at the core of this, why I love the show so much is it's already nailing characters. Like, I love every single, besides the prince, I love every single character in this show so far. Like, even the fathers. The fathers were so fantastic. I love seeing Anisfia's father, just absolutely losing it. Like, he is so at the end of his wits because his daughter is doing this crazy stuff that she shouldn't be doing, but as long as she's over here doing her own thing, it's fine. Still technically using the things that she makes. Like, he still has like this little heating pot that she made him. It's got this cute little Anisfia symbol on it. So it's obviously that he does love his daughter. He does use the things that she makes for him. He enjoys that, but at the same time, it frustrates him. Like, it's causing no end of stress for him. And then you have the other father, which is Gantz, which is Euphyllia's father. He doesn't know how to act around his daughter. And so you have this struggle that's within him, is that he's afraid that he's been pushed her into this role and set her up for essentially shackles. And now at this point in which she can finally do what she wants to do, it's like, okay, what do you want to do? Is being queen too much? Finally having that first moment, it seems like, that he's ever really confronted her in a way that a father should. Seeing how the king and Anisfia act, he's trying to mimic that. But no, obviously the biggest thing is Anisfia and Euphyllia. Already absolutely love it. Mainly Anisfia, let's be honest. She's got such Chisato vibes. Again, look at Licorice Coil, such Chisato vibes. That air of freedom, that air of passion, that air of essentially doing what you want to do, breaking from the molds of this world and really doing what you want to do. I found it very interesting. It doesn't seem as if this is going to be an isekai where the person is first and foremost of the previous world. It seems as if this is from the perspective of somebody that is born in another world, and then when they get to almost their teenage years, suddenly they realize, oh, I have these images of my previous life. It's not as if their personality from the previous life takes over. She really does feel like she's in this world. She is, you know, she's got a father, she cares for her father, she has a brother, She has family here. So she does use lingo and stuff from the previous world that completely throws people off when the king's really mad at her and smacking her around. She's like, no, that's DV. You can't do that. That's a crime. You can't do that. And he's like, what are you talking about? Or just saying things like, yay, yay, these people out in the middle of the forest. And they're like, huh? Or win-win or something like that. She does have that terminology that she throws into this world, but it's never too much. But it doesn't seem like she's always thinking about the previous world. It's just, it gave her inspiration. She's got those images that she's able to then take and apply to magic with this magicology. And yes, the magicology essentially is, like I mentioned before, this idea of this tea kettle thing, and then using magic to infuse it to heat it up. It's a product of our times with gas and electric, but it's using magic instead. And I really like that spin on it, because again, she's not stuck on the previous world. We're getting an image of this world. We're focused on this world. It's just she has a little bit of knowledge to get a little bit of an edge. And I appreciate that because, again, it doesn't feel like an isekai. It's got the things of our world, but it doesn't feel like an isekai. Euphilia so far broke my heart. And it sucks because part of that is due to a very Otome game trope. And again, that was like the only small smidgen of a stain that this show had was, yes, the very trope scene with the prince coming into the ball and saying, you are doing terrible things to this girl that I like, and frames her for things that she never did, basically making Ophelia the villainess. But it doesn't really make it as if Ophelia was a villainess. All she did was told this commoner girl to basically chill out because I'm wed to the prince and you're making people talk. That was all she did. But yet, again, the prince has to make it seem like he's making the right decision. Thankfully, the king doesn't see this. Like, the king's like, oh my gosh, Al, that idiot. That idiot. So thankfully, most everybody else that we care about knows it's not true. Knows that Al is being selfish and an idiot. But again, I can't shake the fact that that scene kind of annoyed me. Though having Anisfia come in, crashing through the window, and just saying, well, I'm taking her. Like, you don't want her, I'll take her, throw her over the shoulder, and just bolt off. It's really cute. They've already really quickly established a cute little relationship between Anisfia and Euphilia. Like I said, very licorice coil. Not that Euphilia is Takina. She's not. She's just a girl that tried very hard to do exactly what she thought that her father wanted her to do. She basically devoted her life to being the perfect queen that she's gonna end up being, and then it blew up in her face. And she was charged for things that she didn't do. And she thought that she failed her father. She's like, what's my punishment? Like, she to her father's like, I screwed up. What now? And he's like, no. That's not what you did. Perfect. It's not your fault. What do you want to do now? You need to think about what you want to do now. Giving her the freedom that she finally seeked. Again, you almost have like this locking down of Euphilia between her and herself and her father, but that really wasn't there. Like, the lockdown wasn't really there. And now she's given the freedom that she wants because Anisfia came in and swept her off her feet. Again, this is only 2 episodes, and I've been talking for 18 minutes. I'm really loving how much they've really dug into with these characters in such a short period of time. And it doesn't feel fast-paced. This is not bad pacing. This is perfect pacing. It is just doing a really good job of transitioning from scene to scene to really dive into these characters. And then you also have Tilty, who is this girl that is helping Anisfia with her magicology. She's creating medicine with this magicite to give Anisfia pretty much temporary magic with side effects. And there's like a little bit of a lore dump in there somewhere about the idea that Tilty apparently nearly destroyed something and nearly destroyed some household, which is kind of funny. But Tilty, they're kind of already insinuating that she feels pity to Anisfia. Like, she feels very sad that Anisfia loves this magic that she can use and would love to give it to her. Would love to give that magic to her. Again, there's a lot of emphasis in this world about how amazing magic is and how important magic is, technically, to the society itself. And there's a little bit of a pitying that's always happening with Anisfia, but she never seems like it's holding her down. Instead, she's pushing because, no, I want that. I want that, and I'll do anything I can to get it. She's not giving up. She's constantly pushing forward. I got a kick out of it because there was a picture on Twitter that I ran into where it's got Anisfia and Euphilia in a bed together. And Anisfia in the back's hugging a body pillow, and it's a broom. because there's a joke in this entire episode that how many brooms she's broke, and she keeps stealing brooms from the maids and stuff so that she can infuse it with magic and try again, and she keeps breaking them. Even the prince comes by at some point, and it just feels like, well, I'm not trying to steal it or anything like that, because they just assume that she's stealing all these brooms to break them. She's got a passion. She's got a strong passion. But no, super great so far. Loving the chemistry between Anisfia and Euphyllia already, just based on this final scene at the end of the second episode. Really getting a sense of the two of them really envying each other in different ways. Euphyllia feels that Anisfia is free, and Anisfia feels that Euphyllia is OP. She's great. She can do exactly what she wants to do. Each side believes the other is exactly what they want to be. And I think they're already coming together as almost a great pairing, essentially carry each other, lean into each other. And I think that chemistry is going to make for a fantastic series. It's already kind of implying that this show might possibly not be Yuri bait. Like, it feels like they're actually going for, no, these two like each other. Anisfia already absolutely loves Euphyllia, thinks she's adorable, she's cute, and she's amazing. And yes, from the perspective of Euphyllia, Anisfia is freedom. She's the one that saved her, whisked her off her feet, and rescued her. But I like the fact that we're already establishing a few breaks of the norm and the idea that it feels like, yeah, societally, they're kind of like, there's nothing against it. And yes, again, the idea that Anisfia doesn't want to get with a guy. She doesn't want to get pregnant. But they together make a perfect team, and I think that relationship that's going to build between them is going to be fantastic. But anyhow, I need to stop. Like, I need to stop. This show's so freaking good. I hope it keeps this. My gosh, I hope it keeps this. It's been fantastic already. Cannot wait. Chemistry's fantastic. Visually looks fantastic. I want more. But let me know in the comments down below. Do you agree? Are you like, never mind, shrug? Are you excited too? Are you never seen it before and you're excited to check it out, and I pushed you to doing that? I know I have a habit of doing that. But thankfully, my track record is pretty darn solid so far of at least explaining enough that people go, yes, you sound excited, but that's not what I want. Let me know in the comments down below. I think this is one of those ones where even if you don't like isekais, please check it out. If you are against isekais, watch this show, because again, it doesn't feel like an isekai. It just feels like a fantasy world that has, oh, some modern time knowledge has been implanted in Anisfia. She is of this world. She isn't an isekai character. She's just a goofball in the midst of royalty. Again, shut up, Andrew. I'm finishing the video. Thank you guys. Hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already so you can get my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. I know I keep doing this, but typically it's over there. I don't know. It's sometimes down there. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I would greatly appreciate if you consider supporting us on Patreon, our tips link, or super thanks button down below. We also have a membership button down there where you can become a member of the channel, get some exclusive Speech-on emotes and a cute little Speech-on next to your name when you're on the channel. I greatly appreciate everybody that supports the channel. You guys mean so much to me. It's shows like this that make me love what I do. And y'all take care.